Hey guys, it's Core Ross and Rainbow Six News. Today we have the mid-season balancing for Rainbow Six Siege. So this is Year 8, Season 1.2. And for console players, point 2 is the patch where Mousetrap gets switched on. So we're looking forward to that. Now this will be hitting the test server first, so this will be on the test server for probably a couple of weeks before it then hits the live servers. And like I say, that's when Mousetrap should get switched on if there's no delays, and they don't mention any delay here, so I'm going to assume that it is coming. We'll start with the balancing graphs here before we get into the balancing changes, which are quite interesting. And again, they've gone ahead and given us the balancing graphs here for both the PC and console, which is really cool. So I'll split the little videos up into images so we can look at them side by side. So this is the win deltas and operator presence for ranked, and it's emerald and above, PC on the left, console on the right. So what we're looking at here is incredibly similar looking setup. The only kind of major stuff I'm seeing is that Ace is preferred over Ash when it comes to the console play, but for the most part it seems like everyone else is somewhat similar. I can also see Brava, the new operator. She is coming into quite a good pick rate, but a very balanced win rate, and looks good on both platforms. We can also see that Zero's buff that he got last time hasn't made much of a difference. I have been playing him a ton in ranked, and I've been having a lot of fun and success with him. So I think that might be a little bit of lag. I think people will kind of jump into Zero in the future because he has had a significant buff that I think works for him. We can also see that Grim, Monty, Sens is doing terrible. Like Sens is doing really, really bad. We've also not got any majorly overperforming operators as well. No one's in a high win rate when it comes to the attackers. So I think these balancing graphs look quite good in my amateurist opinion. Now let's move on to defenders, and this is completely different from PC to console. We can see that Oryx is the most picked on console. This is because of mouse and keyboard. Also, mouse and keyboard players love to rush on console, so they ban Kapkan a lot more. That's why his presence and win rate is really high, because the mouse and keyboard players just love to rush in and try and overwhelm the controller players. So as a result of that, when Kapkan is picked, they get killed a lot, and he ends up winning a lot of games. And they also ban him a lot, which means his presence goes up, because the presence excludes when he's banned. So it makes it look like he's got a way higher presence when he doesn't really. We can also see that on console, Clash appears to be a little bit more effective. However, still losing more games for her team than she's actually winning. But a big difference there. Obviously, console players are having a little bit more trouble dealing with her, but only a little bit. Then we've got Tachanka not doing well whatsoever. There is a buff for him in these patch notes, and the other ones are quite kind of nicely set up in the middle. But obviously, defense here is very different between PC and console. There's not a lot of operators in a similar position. We can see that Solus apparently is doing quite well, kind of balanced in the middle there, along with Azami, who I thought actually would be performing better overall, but she's actually quite a balanced operator, which is quite surprising considering her gadget can be very transformative. I'm assuming on console as well that Mozzie is probably getting picked by the mouse and keyboard players because of that high RPM weapon, but could be wrong about that. But yeah, this defender graph is definitely way more interesting than the attacker one for sure. Let's move on to bans. So we've got attackers. We can see that this is actually balanced out relatively well, with Thatcher and Jackal being the top bans for both, and this is emerald and above for all platforms, and it looks quite similar between both platforms. Then we've got defenders, where again it completely changes. So it looks like console's defense game is very different from PC, whereas the attacker gameplay seems to actually match up, and that might be down to mouse and keyboard. So on PC we've got Mira being the #1 ban, whereas on console it is Kapkan, followed up by Kaid, and then Mira. Whereas, of course, on PC it goes Mira, Kaid, Valkyrie, then Kapkan. So quite interesting again. And this is it. Like, there is a significant difference here when it comes to defense on console over PC, which is highly interesting to me. And now we're moving into operator balancing, and we're starting with Capital. So he's getting a buff to his smoke darts. They're going to last 11 seconds instead of 9. And they say this is actually to bring into a normalization between smoke grenades and the smoke dart. So they're now going to actually all last the same amount of time, which I think is a good change. Then we've got some sight changes. So Kapkan is losing the 1.5 on his SMG. The SMG is one of the best in the game, and it's always had like the best recoil, so I'm not too surprised to see the 1.5 go. I think this will still be a deadly weapon without it, but it means his range is going to be brought back. We can also see that Oryx is losing the 1.5. I think this is probably because of the console, where he is just getting played a ton, and that 1.5 is a big chunk of it with that weapon. And developers here mentioned that his pick rate has been going up season on season, and apparently his KD is one of the highest at the moment. They also mentioned that back in the day, they did take the 1.5 off of Legion, as that was one of the best guns in the game at the time. So they're doing it also with Oryx. Right, on to Wamai. So his little MP5K is getting the 1.5x added onto it. Wonderful addition to him, and yeah, pretty good. It may make him a little bit more dangerous at range with that weapon, but it comes down to which gun you like to use on him. Moving on from that, we've got a bigger change. So this is Tachanka. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to do much or not. So the ammunition is being increased to 20 projectiles from 14, but magazine size is going down to 5 from 7. I don't know if this is going to be a big improvement to Tachanka. However, this is going to help a lot. So his little SMG, the same one that Capcan's just lost 1.5 from, is getting a 1.5 and a 2x. This is going to be something to experience, because that gun doesn't have much recoil, so putting a 2x on it is going to be just incredible. I cannot wait to try that out. And then they talk here about why they're making these changes, and we'll see how this works out. This is going to be sensational. I don't know if this is going to do much, but they do have a graph down here which talks about the area denial of different operators, and you can see this one is 2.6 meters, so smaller than the other two options. But obviously you need to deploy Goyu's one, you need to throw this one and have line of sight, whereas Tachanka's can bounce off walls. And they talk about the time denial down here. So Smoke's got 3 10-seconds worth, so 30 seconds total. And we've also got Goyu with 4 of these that do 20 seconds each, 8 seconds total. And then Tachanka, he did have 14 for 7, and that is 98 seconds. It is now going up to 140 with 20 for 7. So that, yeah, it's pretty damn good if you can use it well. And I think that's the problem with Tachanka. Using this well is really freaking hard. Then we've got a little change to the extended barrel. So I did a video talking about how this was broken when it first showed up, the 15%, but since it was introduced to the game, I've been loving it. And I've been using it on Zero and Brava, and it's been incredible on those weapons and having a blast, absolutely burning through enemies. But also they've been buffing all the other barrels too, and I've been enjoying using them. But it does look like they've decided this is a little bit too broken at 15. They're bringing it down to 12% damage increase. So the extended barrel here will still be good, and I think I'm still going to use it. But they've done a really good job of actually making all the barrels right now good to use. I've been using the compensator, extended barrel, and I've been using the silencer, and they've been feeling real good to use. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this. It's a simple change, but I think it is probably the right thing to do, because I think 15 was a touch too high. They also mention here that at the lower ranks, they don't see people going and updating their kind of barrel attachment options. So if you are in those lower ranks, I would 100% go through your weapons and change them over, putting like extended barrels on and stuff like that, because the reality is at those lower ranks, that might even give you a bigger advantage, because a lot of people just aren't making those choices and might be doing a lot less damage, or if you're having trouble with recoil, they might just not be able to control it because they got the wrong weapon attachment on. So well worth it if you're in the lower ranks to go ahead and actually try and get the right barrel for your weapon. But that is it. That is the designer results for the mid-season balancing, Year 8, Season 1.2. Like I say, when this hits console, probably in about 2 weeks' time, that will be the launch of Mousetrap. And this will be in a test server for roughly 2 weeks or so. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think of these mid-season balancing changes, and I will catch you next time.